Rivermouth from Brisbane.
This is our first time in Alice.
I came from Melbourne for the Red Dirt Poetry Festival.
We did a tour around the Central Australian desert and checked out the Roo, Kings Canyon, Catajuda.
It's a place that they never probably would have otherwise come.
And we hadn't really expected to find such a bubbling cultural scene.
There are so many spoken word and poetry artists here in this town. It just blows my mind.
I'm actually headed over to the States, so this is a great way to tour as a poet through Australia.
So yeah, it's really exciting the festival's come to town.
It's been awesome.
Everyone's just having such a great time.
The Red Dirt Poetry Festival is a 3-day celebration of spoken word poetry in Alice Springs. It's a contemporary festival filled with up-and-coming and emerging writers and poets from around Australia and New Zealand. It's a fantastic event.
Welcome to the Red Dirt Poetry Festival.
This festival has taken inspiration from the amazing Alice Walker. Alice Walker, be nobody's darling, be an outcast.
We wouldn't have poetry without audience, because you are who we write our poems for and who we write our stories for.
Hello! How's everyone doing?
Introverted Epicureans. We are lazy, powerless, selfish wastes of space. And we were lions once.
We are porous beings, and absorption is the cousin of release, and if freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
But I lied about where I live. I live on the ground floor. It is 6 levels above where I am headed, and I am dancing the spatial references which signal location. Newly installed frozen bulb with poison coil.
Humans, they do not have the capacity to understand me. You see, we operate upon a different frequency and a force field of indifference.
It is just my identity. Mate, that's not an identity. That's a barcode. That's dog tags for the nameless, the faceless, the supposedly shameless. Man, where's the great minds of my generation?
I wrote this today at work, so this is my first ever paid piece of writing. It's very exciting.
My people suicide, my people dying, my people crying, lost in the lone dream like an emu, rather fly back home.
It seems that life is just a video game that we play to see how far we go.
Help me understand this. My very soul cries for the purpose to belong somewhere, anywhere. All but a small percentage was ripped up, changed and replaced. This busy street room right now was a place where a massacre occurred.
One voice, one mic. Bound for glory, one story amongst 7 billion. Dream on, dream on. Palya, nyayulu ini senyanya. Speaking in Pidgin Jara.
It's called The Luckiest Country, Australia, the Utopia.
Now who's to blame? Now who's to blame? Are you the type of person who forgive and forget? Willing to gamble and bet, increase the peace with death? Are you a soul survivor? Keep a family provider, but just a wannabe rider trying to believe all these lies?
Such is the story of our city.
It was really positive, and there was a really strong energy in the room. Everyone was up and dancing by the end of it, and locals were mixing with people from out of town, and it was just a great vibe all round. Yeah, I loved it. I think for me that's probably been the highlight of the Red Dirt Poetry Festival.
Daring to go up on stage that first night. It was all right. I was surprised because I got very shaky hands, but it didn't worry me when I was up there.
It's been really great to see community bands come in, to see local artists who haven't had an opportunity before to perform to a local audience, and to see friends get excited about poetry and actually perform.
I helped Lori with some high school workshops, which were really interesting. I think if anyone has any kind of interest, even if they think, they're not a poet, they're not a writer, how would they ever be able to call themselves that? I think even when you take that kernel of interest, everybody has to start somewhere. Seeing all the talent in Alice Springs, it's been really amazing, actually. I've learned heaps and heaps and heaps about Australia, about Alice Springs, about the people here. just from the poets and just from the conversations we've been having about the poetry.
Fred, being a life fuckery angel that lives in Alice Springs, was probably heavily left-wing.
She makes malicious headlines for wrong, not right reasons. Guilty of treason, she is broken. Shattered like the shards of intoxicating glass that lines the streets. Her heartlessness skips to the beat of a hopeless, loveless, and soulless rhythm.
And those who stay in the town, they say, this place will always be here.
And it's about us here in Alice Springs, and it's called Alice Sprung.
Alice Springs Airport Proprietary Limited accepts no responsibility for damage to dreams or loss of loved ones or friends leaving this town on a one-way ticket to somewhere hotter, colder, rainier, bigger or more exciting.
Scrambling, falling, upside downing and arguing. Oh, how they love to argue.
Sadly, I'm only here for a few more days, but I want to stay long enough to get that poem.
It was packed, and I've never seen it that packed, and I love the vibe of like the people inside and outside. That was cool.
It's great to get the community together. There's such a lot of talent in Alice Springs. You just never know walking around, but in places like this, people get up and shine.
It's drawing really big crowds and really diverse crowds as well. Like I went to the opening on Thursday night, and I've never seen like that venue as packed as it was.
The benefits for Alice Springs are huge. We get to experience visiting poets and seeing what other people are doing around the world without having to leave our hometown. We also get to partake in wonderful workshops run by local performers and poets and our visiting poets as well. We get the opportunity to perform on stage in such a beautiful setting, and we also get the opportunity to perform at a festival level.
Make some noise for not being racist in Alice Springs.
Oh, I think the highlight for me was last night. It was the Friday night. We had a hip hop laneway gig at Epilogue Lounge, who are a huge supporter of the Red Dirt Poetry Festival. And it was a massive, massive achievement for me to be able to include performers from Ambladawatch and Elliot, remote Aboriginal communities in Australia. They travelled a really, really long way, like 7 hours, to be here.
Red Dirt Poetry Festival should be annual.
The next Red Dirt Poetry Festival will be held in 2016. It will be every 2 years in Alice Springs.